So congratulations, you're about midway of the end of this video course, and we're going to talk about content creation, which is the very crucial part of this whole process. So we've taken all the data, we've looked at it, we've seen that it's profitable, we're moving forward. I've given you the exact blueprint and layout of the systems. Now let's take all that information and put it into action and create some content. So I'm going to talk about tools to use and things like that, systems to use. So we went through, the front end and the back end of the funnel. And I talked about, the front end is important. It has to have good content and it's got to have that core training. And then of course the back end of the funnel has ongoing training, but it has a focus on community. So let's discuss how to take this blueprint and turn it into something that you can actually sell. All right, so like I said, front end has the core training, and this should be something like a step-by-step training, perhaps in the form of video or webinars. I found over the years that videos and webinars really help to reach many different audiences. So like you have the kinesthetic audiences that like to watch and actually do it as they're watching. And then you have the visual audiences that would rather watch it and then do it. And then you have obviously the auditory audiences that would rather listen or even read text. So you could even have videos and have transcripts as well. So you can hire transcribers to transcribe them and even turn your video perhaps into a report or ebook for somebody who wants to possibly even print it out and go along with it as they print it out and look at the paper. So that's what I found over the years. If you have video, webinars, and transcripts, you pretty much can appeal to all sorts of different audiences so that no one really gets left in the dark. So webinar replays are also great and can be reused. So if you have a prior webinar replay and you've done that before, you can reuse that. You can post that onto Facebook pinned post. Now, if you want to have live webinars, that's fine. That's great. And it's really good because the webinar replays are fine because as long as you're engaging with folks similar to them on the webinar, because the truth of the matter is that people are going to have questions and they're going to ask the questions and they watch the webinar replays and most likely those webinars will resolve those questions. Now, as far as quality and value goes, it should be worth about 5 to 10 times quality wise. So if you're charging, for example, $47 per month, then it should be worth about $470 in value. So if you were going to offer something for $47, make sure that you double it, triple it, multiply it by 5 or even 10. Now, to create a video course, I would say Camtasia is the best software out there for screen capture videos. Now, if you don't really want to do screen capture, that's fine. If you want to do like face-to-face type video, Sony Vegas or even iMovie is really good for talking head videos. That talking head means that you are actually facing the camera and talking. Screen capture is something like this where you can see my mouse moving around and I can show you what's happening on the screen. And then of course, GoToWebinar and GoToMeeting are really good for getting high engagement to create that community feel. So besides Facebook, you can use other mediums such as webinars, GoToWebinar, even Google Hangouts if you want the free route to kind of engage with your customers. The thing about if they can see your human face or see your or hear your voice, then they're more likely going to trust you and feel like they have something invested in you, especially if you can talk to them, interact with them, and so forth. And the cool thing about a community is when they see you communicating or even talking to somebody else, even if the majority of your community doesn't necessarily talk directly to you, they're watching how you deal with other people. Now, as far as the video course itself, you want to make sure that it is sequential to avoid confusion as much as possible. And this is something that I've noticed over the years, having created so many video courses. I've noticed that so many people, when they create video courses, it's just scattered. You can't really, you notice that, okay, they're teaching something that should be taught at the end of the course and the beginning of the course. So when somebody goes through your video course or their video course, they're confused. So you definitely don't want to be scattered. So let me give you an example of what courses should not look like, because most of these look like this. Typically what they look like is step 4, step 3, step 9, step 1. It's just scatterbrained. There's no sequence, no cumulative. Like if you notice when you go to school, generally speaking, before they teach you how to do algebra, they teach you specific formulas that you need before you can actually get the end result. So a lot of video courses unfortunately look like this, and they create confusion. And then what happens is that confusion results in support tickets, high refund rates, and things like that. I've seen so many products that lack in this area. So what your product, and video course should look like is obviously step 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now, the way you achieve this is by putting all your ideas on a piece of paper. Don't worry about the order or anything like that. But once you are ready to reorganize it, once you have all the ideas on a piece of paper, then you need to ask yourself, okay, which one of these need to be completed first? If I were to go through this program myself, what would be step 1? What would be step 2? So in order to do step 2, I would need step 1. Or in order to do step number 5, I would need 1, 2, 3, and 4. In other words, I couldn't advance to 5 unless I have 1, 2, 3, 4. Or I couldn't advance to number 3 unless I went through 1 and 2. So if you do that, your video courses, your webinars, and everything like that sequentially and cumulatively will make sense, and you'll actually get lower support tickets, lower amounts of questions, and lower amounts of frustration within your community. So, for example, someone can't really learn how to squat 200 pounds unless they've learned, and been taught to do what's before that, right? So they need to know, okay, you need to warm up, you need to get to the point where you can squat 10 pounds, 20 pounds, and so forth and so forth. And the majority, unfortunately, of video courses, sometimes they teach how to squat 200 pounds right away, or they jump to 100 pounds. And what ends up happening is people break their backs or injure themselves, and they get frustrated, they quit, and they leave your program. So you don't want that. That's kind of a key element that most people don't think about because it's just not really exciting and amazing. All right, so off my soapbox for now. So let's talk about the back end. When it comes to creating content for the back end, this really is the focus on community. So a community needs updates to know what is going on, what is happening in the future, what is expected of them, and what is going to happen in the future. So that way they don't have to guess whether or not the site's going to be updated or the content is going to be updated or become frustrated. And this is why most people leave. They see no activity, which means in their mind, psychologically, no one really wants to be there. So let's say, for example, you go to the gym. You notice that there's nobody there. You realize, wow, I'm the only one who really wants to work out. But after over time, you go to these fitness classes and things like that. If you're the only one, then psychologically you're thinking, okay, why am I the only one? I am here. I want to lose weight, or I want to gain weight, or I want to achieve a specific goal. It doesn't have to be fitness, but why is nobody here? So that's why you want to have activity. So typically out of 1,000 people, only like a couple, 50 or so will actually respond. or out of 100 people, only one person typically will respond. So you can actually create activity if there's not a whole lot of activity by you engaging and you updating the site in the Facebook group. So what this includes is this could include articles, short videos, and other mediums to help your customers achieve the end desired goal. So this is not just make updates for the sake of updating. It's just updates and use this to your advantage to try to push them to the end desired goal and get them to complete the program. Because if they complete the program, they're going to be fans and they're going to be followers, and the followers are going to tell other people about your Facebook continuity program. And your program is just going to grow itself. And you can also write your own articles, or you can hire people via Upwork.com, which is formerly known as Odesk.com. It's a great site that you can use to find people to write really good articles and get people to proofread them as well. So, like I said, when people feel like they are taking action and accomplishing something, even if it's baby steps, even though they haven't really completed the end goal, as long as they're moving along in the system itself, then it's the progress that counts. They feel like they are accomplishing something. And that brings us to live group webinars and teleconferences. I absolutely love these because this creates a sense of investment by allowing people to jump on webinars and give you feedback and constructive criticism about the site, about your continuity site, about your membership, about your community, and what they're going through and how you could possibly improve it and so forth. So you can get on these live group webinars, pick their brains, but also help them get all the way to the end goal. So like I said, I like webinars because you can help lots of people at one time. So you set the time, you set, hey, it's going to be Tuesday at 1 p.m. So people get on there, they can ask questions, and you can record the webinar, send out the replay, and you've got a piece of content that you can use on and on and on and on. So that could be the ongoing content. And then the live group webinars, which could be monthly things or even bi-monthly things. Very, very easy to do once you have the right software. So GoToWebinars are best for screen capture based webinars from what I've noticed and what I've seen other people use as well. So Google Hangouts are good as well, but they're really good for that face-to-face interaction, which is good as well. So you can kind of mix and match and mix it up as well. And you can deliver live interaction and personal touch through these things, and this is going to really go really, really far. You can offer to do interviews with customers. You can do case studies with customers, because those are great. You can do hot seats with customers. Get a customer on, get them to show you what they've done, give them tips and advice. So with that said, that brings us to video number 7, and we're going to take everything that we have learned up to this point, and I'm going to show you how to set it all up. I'm going to show you the exact steps, and I'm going to show you what you need to do to succeed.